Da 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 da. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Bum, 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 bum. What's up, party people in the house?
What up, though?
Welcome to Texas Live, one of the sexiest voices in the SFL,
Mr. Master.
Dave Axis. What's up, party people of the SFL? What's going on? What's happening? What is cracking? This Tuesday night, what's going on? Welcome to Season 20, Episode 11 of Axis Live. This, by the way, recaps Week 11 and predicts and talks about Week 12 as well, just in case you were mixed up on the weeks or something. That usually doesn't happen around here, but you never know. I see all the party people in the chat piling in. I'll give you over there in just a second, but I want to say a couple things real quick before I get over there. First of all, some shout outs. Happy birthdays. Frank the Franchise Wade a few days ago. Happy birthday. Hacker birthday yesterday, and Nacho birthday today. Did Hacker and Nacho's parents, did they like plan that shit or what? That's kind of cool and kind of weird at the same time. I'm not sure. But anyway, happy birthday to you three. Number two, Lisa. Lisa has left me. She's gone. She's Pink Lisa is in Florida. Hopefully she's in the chat listening. She's on a trip, so I'm home all alone with the dog. It's just me and the dog over here, and she's making a big old mess and noise. Third thing I wanted to talk about real quick is I don't have a Diva of the Week nominee personally this week. I wasn't able to watch games this week, so I didn't feel like it was good to just, throw a name out there or whatever. So we have four nominees, right? The three panelists and our surprise special co-host. However, what I'm going to allow you guys to do is start throwing out names in the chat who you think should be my Diva of the Week nominee. And then when we get to that point in the show later tonight, we'll see what the consensus is. And if we have a consensus, then I'll throw it in there. And if we don't, we'll just go with the four. So that's the deal. Last thing is number 4. I want to throw out some SSF news real quick. The Simulation Soccer League, or Simulation Soccer Federation, my bad. Looks like Freddie and his team, Bluff City, at the top of the table, followed by Eagle in his Hearts of Maple, followed by Knox City and yours truly. So just wanted to throw that out there for the top 3 real quick. And then let's see what we're going to do next. How about we check out the party people? The party people. Party people. Yo, get funky. All right, first person in is Pseudo Nikai. What's up? Zach Holdorf is here. Bob Funk's back. Bob Funk, we miss you in the SSF, bro. You need to get over there. You're a number 1 fan, and we miss you. The man with the best first name in the SFL and every other league I'm in with him. David Leathers is in the house. Bullet Boletsky's here. Bullet's feeling under the weather, so he's going to bounce after he does his bullet points, but we appreciate him coming through anyway. Bullet's kind of like, he's like Doug Britton, he's like a mailman. He's like the post office, through sleet and snow and rain and sickness and all that shit. They still come through. Tyler Falk in the house. Good to see you, bro. Let's see who else we got here. Tyler was, or who's that? Oh, Holdorf throwing all the things out there. Boonberry's back. Good to see you. Neil Rivers in his house. Fucking Ray's here, everybody. What's up, Ray? Who else is here? Frank, the Franchise Wade, is in the house, along with Art Vandalay, Freddie Trammell. Who else? Saw those names already. Nate Hall. Nate Hall is here. Good to see the Bone Frossel. Who's the Bone Fossil? Why should I? I feel like that's the second time I've asked who that is. Polly's in the house. What's up, Polly? Good to see you, buddy. Oh, there she is. The lovely, amazing, perfect pink Lisa is in his house, listening to me all the way from Orlando, Florida, folks. Now, that is dedication. That's why we've been married for 30 years right there, because she loves me. Who else is here? Who am I missing? Anybody? Jack Wall. What's up, Jack? You missed a couple weeks, bro. Where you been? Bo Martin Jr. Is there a Bo Morpheus Jr. sighting in the chat? Probably just for a second, then he'll disappear. Marco Swift. Good to see you, bro. Tox. Oh, J-Rock. What's up, J-Rock? Jasmine Curry. What? There's a Jasmine Curry sighting, folks. Let me see. I said Marco already. Guy Clausen. Remote Dino. What's up? Wow, there's a lot of people here today. Master Chief. Good to see you, buddy. Crazy Canuck in the house. Good to see you. As usual, if I miss you, go ahead and @ me in the chat, and I'll throw out a shout out to you as we get things going. Axel Raven in his house. Good to see Axel. I think that's about it. Unless if I'm missing anybody, go ahead and @ me. That's everybody I see. Oh, T the Queen sneaking in at the last second, just like a queen. What do you know about that? All right, folks. Like I mentioned, welcome to the program. That is the party people. Let's get on to tonight's panelists in the first circle. The circle closest to Access Time. Oh, T. Hey, T, real quick. Hey, is Doug in the chat too, or is Doug working? Let me know, because look what I ordered. There's 2 of them now, baby. There's 2 of these hats on the planet. What's up? What's up? In circle number 1, folks, he has not been here in a minute. And it's because he's got like a life or some shit. I don't know, man. He is busy. He teaches. He coaches. He takes his family on spring break. He's just got all kinds of shit going on. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Probably my number 1 panelist of all time, Frank, the franchise Wade. Frank, what's up, bro? How you been? How was your vacation? How was your birthday? Welcome back.
Everybody is doing well. The vacation was great. It was short, and birthday was great. Family took care of me. I got this to say: great people are born in March.
Really? Like who?
Well, you just named 3 of them at the beginning of the show.
Oh, those people.
And then you got Peyton Manning. You got the Undertaker.
Right. Oh my gosh. So real quick, before we get on to the next panelist, Frank, the Undertaker versus Peyton Manning in a brawl. Who's got it?
Well, Undertaker. Jeez.
You're right, dude. What if Peyton Manning's got like loaded up throwing footballs at his ass as he's approaching him? What do you think?
Peyton Manning's going to tell jokes and then get his ass beat.
And then get his ass beat. Nice. All right, Frank. Welcome back to the program, bro. Good to see you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, folks. In the middle tonight, in circle number 2, we have somebody who's been on the show quite a bit this season, after not really being on the show much the previous seasons. Used to have his own show. And right now he's on one of the more talked about teams in the league this season. Ladies and gentlemen, from Minnesota, our buddy Axel Raven. Axel, what's up, bro? What's going on with you, man?
Hey, Dave. Yeah, drowning my sorrows over the last weekend and things.
That was rough. That was rough.
It was a tough game, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But thanks for having me on.
Yeah, glad to have you back, bro. In circle number 3, I mean, let's be honest. 90% chance we know who's in circle 3. Now, last week, there was a 100% chance he wasn't here. But this week, there's a 100% chance that he's back. Ladies and gentlemen, Tyler Falk back in the house with his cap on in the third circle, playing third base, exactly where he should be. Tyler, what's going on with you, man?
I sit here at the hot corner. I sit here in the corner just in general. But, no, it's good to be here. Hi, Axel. Hi, Frank. And hello, mystery guests who we have yet to name. And hello to all the party people. Good to be back. We are in the thick of it. Only 3 more weeks to go in regulation for the Simulation Football League's 20th season.
And by the way, real quick, I forgot to mention you guys before we get to our special surprise guest co-host, which you guys should probably start guessing. Remember, whoever guesses correctly gets swag. How about them San Diego State Aztecs in the Final Four for the first time, baby? What's up? What's up? What's up? Go Aztecs. All right, folks. Special surprise guest co-host tonight. Let's see. Jack Wall. It is not Jack Wall. I think nobody guessed last week. I think 2 weeks ago, Britton got it right. I don't think anybody got it last week. The guy that bought Dave's car. Oh, I wish. Which one? I sold 2 cars in the last couple weeks. Holdorf, no. K-Ris, no. Jasmine Curry, that's a good gift. Good guess. Marco Swift, no. Eddie Gage, no. Mike All, no. Twin Screw, no. K-Riss, no. There's a lot of wrong guesses, so let me jump in here. This is the hardest button for me to always find for some reason. I must have it out of order or some shit. I don't know where it is. Maybe, you know what? Maybe we just won't roll with the surprise guest co-host. You guys are all wrong because we don't have one. Ha ha. Joke's on you. No, it's not Pink Lisa. It's not Cam. It's not Charles. It's not Reside. Shit, where's my... Oh, there it is. I got it now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if anybody guessed it. If you did, I'll scroll back and look because I missed a bunch of them while I was looking for the button. But tonight's special surprise guest co-host is none other than Fox Highwind from London. Fox, what's up, bro? How you been? You haven't been on my show in like 4 seasons or some shit.
I think I've had a small segment twice. But thanks for having me on, Dave. I appreciate
yeah,
it.
you were on like at the beginning of season 1, right? We did like one segment or something.
Show.
Yeah.
Oh,
was it the first show?
The last show.
So there you go. See, so if we make this the last show ever of Access Live, you'd be the bookends.
It would probably be my legacy. Yes.
All right, breaking news, folks. Breaking news on Access Live. It's over. It's over. It's Fox 6'10". You're saying you look really tall tonight, Fox. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but
I am really tall. I'm 7'6".
He's 7'6". Okay. Don't you recognize him, Charles, from the NBA? Come on. Anyway, Fox, welcome back to the program, bro. Glad to have you here. I don't think anybody guessed you, man. I don't think anybody would have thought it would have been you.
Nobody would have thought it was me.
Nope. We pulled the wool over their eyes this time. Welcome back, bro.
Thanks.
All right, folks, before we go on to Bullet and his bullet points, quick reminder. July 28th through the 30th in the beautiful city of Cincinnati, right along the river, would be the 3rd or 4th. Is it the 3rd or 4th? Anybody know? Annual SFL convention. I know they had one in Atlanta. They had one in Houston. They had one in Vegas. Am I missing one?
And one in Dallas before Atlanta.
In Dallas. Okay, so the 5th, I don't know if it's annual because there's a gap there somewhere, but the 5th SFL convention, July 28th through the 30th. Make sure you book your rooms. Dave Axis and Pink Lisa already booked. We booked the first day. We will be there. I'm going to talk to... What's up, Dion? I'm going to talk to Cam. I might do a show if I get there a day early or something. Maybe we'll do Access Live from Cincinnati. That'd be kind of fun. So we'll see how that goes. All right, that being said, let's move on to bullet points. And my man, Bullet Beletsky, Charlie Beletsky, fullback from the... or running back now, right? Flip from Florida. Bullet, how you feeling, bro, man? I know you've been feeling under the weather, but how you doing, man?
I'm feeling like doggy poop right now. My stomach is doing cartwheels all day. Been in bed.
Did you eat something bad? You got the flu, or what do you got going on?
I think I got the flu. Yeah.
That's no bueno, bro. Well, you know what? The last week's show was such a shit show. I bet you probably have at least a half a dozen, but maybe you cut them down to like maybe 3 or 4 since you're not feeling well. How many we got tonight?
We got 8, and I tried to be a gentleman with you, but you just do most of the talking, so it's almost impossible to exclude you.
That's called Access Live, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly. Well, you complained last week that I'm always nailing you, and
wait a minute.
Putting out the content.
Just for the record, I've never complained when bullets nailed me.
That's fair.
Oh, shit. All right. Let's get into this before we have another 10 bullet points before you even get started. Bullet point number 1.
In his opening monologue, Dave said that he had a hard time finding an owner for the Owner's Box segment for the show. For context, here are a few of the recent consequences of being a guest on Dave's show. Daniel Wright got maimed. Justin Reside got insulted. And Nate Hall got treated like a dancing monkey. If that wasn't enough, this week during the intros, Dave mocked Josh Farnsey's sweatshirt and said his cap was ugly, and he told T-Roy Gaines that he doesn't like him very much. Wow. Dave talking to himself for 90 minutes is coming soon to a live stream near you.
What can I say? I'm a fucking I'm a person people. Or a person people? What is that? People person? I'm a people person.
People person.
I'm a freaking people person. Can't you tell? Damn it, Charlie.
Of course.
Can't you tell? I treat everybody with respect. Now hurry up and just do your second bullet point, damn it.
You got it. Okay. Dave announced that Charles Doherty was going to create a painting auction it off at the upcoming SFL convention. And when asked what the theme of the painting was, Charles said, "A knuckle fuck." We were all intrigued instantly. Needless to say, the bidding for this highly anticipated item is already off the charts.
Okay. Just for the record, I thought he said knuckle fucker, but
maybe
I don't know if that makes a
fucked
difference.
up.
I don't know if that makes a difference.
It was a little comedic license. That's what
Maybe
it was.
adding the ER makes it less R-rated. I don't know, but good thing we've got that little thing at the beginning of our show before you come on. We should probably move on to bullet point number 3.
Number 3. Okay. Where are we? There we are. Okay. I rode Dave a little hard in last week's bullet points. Pause. And my reward was Dave sending me a silent message on air to lip read. And folks, it was not pleasant. Let's just say it involved a sexual act that I was apparently expected to perform on myself. I guess if I dish it out, I have to take it too. Pause again. Touche, Dave.
Well, I'm here to please, bro. Remember, I'm a people person and shit.
You are.
Bullet point number
story.
4.
Number 4. In response to Dave's weekly explanation as to why his shelves aren't built yet and how he's building a deck instead, in the chat, Art Vandelay said, Dave has a big deck. Our team of investigators are on the case looking for confirmation. Stay tuned.
Well, not only do I already have a big deck, but I've got somebody coming over to make it even bigger.
Okay, fair enough.
Just for the
Fair
record.
enough.
Also, speaking of Art Vandelay, it has been brought to my attention that he did guess Fox Highwind. I will have to check the clock. I'll check the tape afterwards and see if he said it in time or not. But as of this moment, it looks like Art Vandelay has won himself some Access Live swag as we move on to bullet point number 5.
Number 5. Cheesy Pizza, a backup quarterback for Carolina, one of the best names in the NFL, finally saw some game action this week. And to hear T-Roy work his name into the game breakdown was awesome and also subliminally satisfying. Cheesy Pizza almost pulled off the upset. Cheesy Pizza kept Carolina in the game until the end. And a late interception from Cheesy Pizza sealed Carolina's fate. I'm willing to bet that at least half the audience ordered pizza with extra cheese after this segment. I know I did. I really did. True story.
Yeah, you know what? I think I might have had pizza that night too. Now I think about it, dude. That whole what do they call it? Subliminal advertising and all.
Yeah, subliminal advertising.
I mean, like if somebody threw a Coke up on the screen right now, I'd probably go get a Coke right now. But in the meantime, let's listen to bullet point number 6.
Okay, number 6. An alarm went off in Dave's studio during the discussion, and in the chat, Nacho said to Dave, "Go to bed, old man." To which Dave responded, "That's not my alarm to go to bed, Nacho. It's my alarm to tell you to go F yourself." We all know by now the alarm is a reminder for Dave to take out the garbage every Tuesday, but activating Dave never gets old. Well done, Nacho.
Dude, we had a feisty show last week, I guess. Damn, I mean, there's a lot of F-bombs and all kinds of weird words going on last week. What happened last week? I don't know.
Yeah, it was a little rowdy.
That alarm will go off here again in about 41 minutes, just FYI. Bullet point number 7.
Number 7. When reviewing the Florida-Jacksonville game, Josh Farnsey said, Florida rode Boletsky into the end zone all night. Boletsky had 37 touches, and the Florida offensive line wore Jacksonville down up front. Felt like I had to smoke a cigarette when it was done. Thanks, Josh.
Josh is like that, though. Josh makes everything sound sexy, even when it's not. What are we on? Was that 7? I think this is it.
That was 7.
All right.
We're on the last one.
We're on the last one, and then you can take your ass back to bed. Bullet point number 8.
Number 8. Dave was unclear if it was currently week 9 or 10 in the SFL, and for the next 5 minutes, listening to the panel and reading the chat comments trying to figure this out made my head want to explode. Did Cam in his quest for world domination taint the SFL water supply in order to dumb us all down to an easily influenced state of mind, or are we all just naturally morons? Jury is still out.
I'm going to go with the latter. Because
I think you might be right.
Especially based on the other 7 bullet points from last week. I'm pretty sure we were all a bunch of fucking morons last week. So there's your answer for you. And Bullet, thank you so much for putting this together, even when you weren't feeling well. And more importantly, thanks for coming on the show and having to read through that. And hope you get better soon, bro.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
You got it, bro. All right, folks. Charlie Boletsky and his bullet points. Week after week, letting us know, reminding all of us what a shit show we had the week before. Moving on, let's hit the Jack's data ratings real quick. Hunter is on vacation or he's traveling for work, something. He's out of town. So he wasn't able to get us the updated one for this week. So we're going to go old school like we used to at the beginning of the season. And we're going to take last week's ratings and then knowing what happened this week with teams. And I'm going to go around and each panelist is going to give me something that they think someone, some movement here, some movement there, some potential surprise, what have you. And Frank, we'll start with you.
Well, I'm going to talk about this later, but I think and I don't know if it's much of a surprise, but I'm looking at Fort Worth. I'm looking at Fort Worth as a team that a lot of other teams need to take notice of.
So, was Fort Worth on a bye this week? Let me look at this. Like I said, I was out of town all weekend. This is the first weekend.
No, I think they played Canton, I think.
Oh, that's right. They did. They beat up on Canton. So Frank, do you think they're going to move up a little bit with the teams in front of them? I mean, all the teams in front of them won except for Arizona and Minnesota, I think, right?
I think they will move up. And like I said, I'll talk about it earlier why I think that.
All right, sounds good. Axel, as you look at these from last week, knowing what went down this weekend, what movement do you anticipate this week?
I think Louisiana moves from in that top 12 down to that 4 looking in, and maybe takes not necessarily takes Carolina's spot, but Carolina I think leaves this picture altogether. Sadly, after a pretty solid first half of the season.
Well, I mean, it was still a close game, right? It was 20-10. Yeah. I mean, but the problem is, what are they 4-5 now? They're upside down.
They have to pretty much win out. Yeah. It's getting to that point.
Agree with that. Tyler, what do you see?
I'm right there with you, David. Axel, Louisiana will move into that bottom 4 at best, if I might be so frank. And yes, it was unfortunate. We'll talk about more of that here in a few segments. But I also agree that Carolina falls out, and maybe DC and Houston move up just a touch. And one other team we'll get to right quick, Tulsa, Minnesota. That's an easy flop at this point for one swap, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. Before we get to Fox, real quick, a couple people jumping in the chat. Doug Day, what's up, Dougie? How you like my hat, bro? I ordered one. Now we've got 2. And Nacho, you just get here, bro. We said happy birthday to you at the beginning. You have to rewind and watch that or watch the VOD later. Fox, these are Jack's data ratings going into the week that we just played. As you see the games this weekend, what movement do you anticipate here moving into week 12?
Well, Dave, I can't actually see the graphic due to my setup.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Shit.
I will agree with everything everyone said already. It sounds great.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. Just put it. Sure. So we got Baltimore, Arizona, Vegas, Atlanta, Minnesota, Tulsa. Your top 6. Minnesota lost. I think Vegas on a bye.
No, Vegas lost to DC.
Oh, they lost to DC. That's right. So 3 of the top 6: Arizona, Vegas, and Minnesota all losing. As you look at the other side, London won, Fort Worth won, Mexico City won, Vancouver. What did Vancouver do, you guys? Is Louisiana the only team?
Vancouver was on a bye, I think.
Vancouver was on a bye.
Okay, so let's stick with those top 6. Do you anticipate number 2 Arizona, number 3 Vegas moving down, and Atlanta maybe jumping up?
I do, not necessarily a whole lot because Arizona lost to Baltimore, and Vegas they might move down a little bit more because they lost to DC, but DC's been coming on strong this year. Towards the end of the year. I don't think Minnesota's going to drop too much because Tulsa's a pretty strong team.
Well, I think Baltimore's beating up everybody, so I don't know how bad you drop Arizona for losing to Baltimore. Yeah, I agree with that. All right, folks, let's kick into our divisions. We'll kick things off this week with the South Division. Frank, this is your division: Alamo City, Fort Worth, Houston, Mexico City. Mexico City and Fort Worth kind of staying at the top there. You guys moving backwards a little bit, and Houston starting to make a charge here late in the season. Tell us about this particular weekend in Week 11.
Yeah, Houston trying to make some noise. We took a step back. There's still 2 games left. We can still finish 7-5, and that's what we're hoping. That was a tough loss to swallow. I like Pickler and some of those guys over there in London, but it was really hard to take that loss the way we did. Really expected it to either be closer than it was, if not us being out on top. But after this weekend's games, uh, the division is still kind of up for grabs. You've got um, us playing Houston in Week 14. You've got and we're taking on Canton this week. Houston has London, but Mexico City and Fort Worth are in the last week as well. Mexico City probably has the tougher schedule out of the two, and they just have a game lead. Week 14 is going to cause Cam to pull out his calculator to figure this one out. So many scenarios can happen in the division in the next 3 weeks. Some stars of the division up until this point are, my favorite quarterback, Ace Finnick, is third in yards overall. He just went over 3,000 yards. But as far as touchdowns go, sitting there in the middle of the pack. Brad Jones leads the division, third overall in rushing, over 1,000 yards. Phoenix Jones of Mexico City and GP Wells of Houston are within 50 or 60 yards from catching him. Stephen Hacker of Fort Worth is second in the league in yards and has scored 9 touchdowns. Ace's brother Deuce is the closest to him with 8 touchdowns, but is over 200 yards short or behind him in our division. Zed Markov, second overall in tackles with Bogey Barr of ACA right behind him. Once again, we hear the name Dan Tritz of Mexico City has 10.5 sacks. He's tied in the division with 10.5 sacks, but he's tied with Skylar Kingsley, his teammate, with 10.5 sacks. So pretty impressive defensive line there. Josh Rowe leads the division with 6 interceptions. Fort Worth has the most points scored in the division. Alamo City is a close second, but it is Alamo City with the second most yards in offense in the entire league. Fort Worth is 7th, Houston is 9th, and Mexico City is 10th. So they're all pretty close right there. Defensively, Mexico City is ranked 13th in yards, Houston 15th, Fort Worth again middle of the pack, but they're all kind of right there. But what surprises me, ACA is the last in yards given up. I didn't realize that until I started looking all that up. If you look at all the stats, these 4 teams are all over the place. The team that scares me, and this is what we were talking about earlier, and not just for the division, but the whole league, is Fort Worth. We were able to beat them week 1, but week 1 you're not sure what you're getting and all that stuff. So they lost to Carolina in week 2. So they started off 0-2, but they've won 6 of their last 7 games. And that only loss during that span has been a narrow defeat to London in England, and also during that span of 6 out of 7, the only team to defeat the defending champion Baltimore Vultures. They're averaging almost 35 points a game. That's 3rd overall. So they're on a roll right now. They're putting pressure on Mexico City, and I think they have the easier schedule out of the 2 teams. I think they have. Let's see. They've got Queen City, Motor City, and then Mexico City in Week 14. So Week 14 is going to be very interesting.
Before Fox asks you his question, I just want to say Eddie Gage in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie's saying he's checking in from the hospital after getting their ass beat. But, Eddie, the problem in that Baltimore hospital is there's no beds available because we've all gotten our ass beat by Baltimore. So don't sweat it, bro. Don't sweat it. Fox, what do you got for Frank there?
Hey, Frank, last season we saw a 7-5 Tulsa team miss out on the playoffs. I think there's a scenario in the South where the division winner could actually be 7-5 and maybe 1 or 2 teams tied with them. How likely do you see maybe the South produces a 7-5 division champion, but the rest of the teams miss the playoffs?
I don't see. I see a 7-5 team possibly winning the division, but I don't see a second place 7-5 team missing out. Maybe a third place team, but not a second place 7-5. If we were to all finish with that, I think we have the tiebreaker over Fort Worth. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think we do.
If it's head to head and there's no third team, I think, but there probably is a third team. So in this scenario, you'd have you guys, Mexico City, and
And
Fort
either-
Worth, so they probably
yeah.
all be 7-5. Yeah. So Frank, I'm not sure
Yeah.
about that, bro.
I'm not sure either,
Yeah.
but Mexico City has, they beat us, and so again, Cam's going to have to pull out that calculator and figure this all out.
I think maybe Tyler has some inside information on this, but the updated the playoff stuff comes out every Wednesday, Thursday ish.
So it actually comes out every Monday for those that catch the Monday Night Spectacular with Pam. Pam.
Pam.
With Cam,
Paul
with Pam. So,
and-
is that what it is?
Pam.
Paul and
There-
Cam is
there we go.
Pam.
There we go. We found the acronym. Pam. Paul and Cameron Irvine for some nice Pam spray on that Monday night.
Nice.
Anywho, no,
Terrible.
every Monday
Terrible.
they get a little bit of an updated playoff scenario. And so right now, Tulsa is currently in a 4 spot. As far as everybody else goes, Baltimore is, of course, in there with a bye. Arizona's still in there with a bye, and Vegas is
All right. Frank, thanks for breaking down the South. Tyler.
Atlanta, not Las Vegas.
Gotcha. Frank, thanks for breaking down the South for us. As we move on to the Central, and Axel, I know you've been dreading this moment for a few days now, but let's be honest, this is becoming we've talked about it almost every week, one of the top 2 or 3 most competitive divisions in the SFL now. Break down this week 11 for us.
Sure. As you mentioned, right now the standings go Tulsa at the top with at 7-2, having taken out Minnesota. That is now 6-3, which also matches Indy, who had a bye this week at 6-3, and then Sioux Falls trailing that at 4-5. Again, if Sioux Falls somehow wins out, they could be just up there, as any of us. So really, like you said, everybody's vying for that top spot. 3 more games left. Tulsa's on a 5-game winning streak, which is pretty cool for them. So I for some reason I picked the 2 divisions, this division and the Pacific Division. Both of them have 1 shared game, and 2 of their teams are on bye. So both Sioux Falls and Indy were on bye. Indy has a 4-game winning streak, and as I mentioned, is 6-3. They currently have the best passing attack in the league, but they also currently have the worst rushing attack in the league. I think at 30 and some odd yards per game on the ground for them. So it's a big bit of yin and yang there for them. They come up this weekend, coming up against Atlanta, and then finish off with LA and Tulsa. Sioux Falls needs to win out in order to sort of maintain any type of chance for the playoffs. But you really can't count them out. Who they've beat already is Florida, Tulsa, Louisiana, and Seattle. None of them are necessarily like slouches, but they battle Vancouver this coming weekend, and then after that, Portland and Minnesota. But yeah, that brings us to the 1 game that took place between Tulsa and Minnesota. Minnesota held Q to 45% completion percentage, 177 yards through the air, 0 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and 0 sacks. On the opposite side, Tulsa held Reno to 66% completion percentage, 265 yards, 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and 3 sacks. I think those 3 sacks were a pretty big thing to sort of pause or stop some drives that were happening. Obviously, I think their interceptions took place. One of the interceptions happened in the end zone, which really pretty much took points away off the board for Minnesota. On the opposite side, Gabriel Manning had a 101-yard kick return for a touchdown that really set the pace for the game. Doug Brown on the ground had 129 yards on the ground and 1 touchdown, which I think was pretty much the only solid offensive producer in the game. Other than that, it was defense and special teams. There were hat tricks on both sides. Marco Swift had 3 interceptions for Tulsa. Johnny Bravo had 3 interceptions for Minnesota. And then the rest were field goals, 4 by Brooke Beisel and 3 by Mickey Melillo. Tulsa right now, one of the worst, I think maybe 3 from the bottom or so in passing, but top 3rd in rushing. So I think, and then their defense is just up there especially in stopping the pass. They have a really good pass stopping defense right now. So, um, yeah. Next up for Tulsa is Seattle, then Atlanta and Indianapolis, and then next up for Minnesota this coming weekend is Jacksonville, Louisiana, then Sioux Falls to finish it up.
So as you look at the final 3 games for each of these teams, maybe one, they also have 3 games left. I feel like one was
They
one.
all do, yeah.
Okay. Who has the easiest path to winning this division?
I think right now Minnesota does. I think Sioux Falls, they're just I think too far below the cusp that the most they could get by winning all 3 of theirs would be 7-5.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one of the other 3 are going to get 8.
Well, Tulsa already has
wins.
7 wins, right? So
They do, yep.
Yeah.
So they'd be tied, and they might have I don't know if they have the tiebreaker or not, but yeah, I think Minnesota with Jacksonville, Louisiana, and Sioux Falls, I think is the easier because both Tulsa still has to beat battle Atlanta, and then also
That's
Indy
a tough
battles Atlanta. I think both of them. That's the big game that both of them will need to the big hump to get over for them.
hey, the Swift brothers are at least one. Marco's in the chat. Did you guys, Marco? Did you guys already play Sioux Falls? And if you did, tell me the outcome. I'd like to know. Just in case Sioux Falls, right? Let's say Tulsa loses out, Sioux Falls wins out. I mean, who knows? Who knows for sure? Tyler, go ahead.
One of
buddy.
the teams.
Right.
That is one of the teams that Sioux Falls did beat was Tulsa, and they only play them once.
Oh, Sioux Falls did beat Tulsa. Okay.
Yeah.
Tyler, is that what you're gonna say?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, speaking of Tyler, thank you, Axel. Appreciate you breaking that down for us. Let's move on to the East. An Atlanta, Louisiana game. Super close all the way down to the wire. That was great. Tell us about the East this weekend.
So just like Josh last week, 2 teams on a bye, 2 teams, of course, playing each other, with Jacksonville and Florida doing battle, and Florida getting back on the win train in week 10. 11 rolls around, and it's the all-important division-siding clash between Louisiana and Atlanta. It looked like it was going to be Louisiana throughout the entirety of the ball game, even with Liam Hammer going down early on in that football game, completely throwing off the majority of the passing attack, I would say. The passing attack was here's a word trivia for you, your word of the day, blunted, or stunted is another word to say in terms of that. Just because Hammer means so much as far as the deep ball goes, Buchanan Simons does a pretty decent job. Or excuse me, Lyric Da Vinci. I'm thinking Charleston.
Yeah.
Sorry. Lyric Da Vinci does a pretty decent job in his stead, but it just sometimes it's just not enough to combat against a very, very pass-hungry defense in Atlanta. And it came to fruition in the fourth quarter. Atlanta's starting to make just a little sniff at a comeback, and Tommy Utah throws a pick 6 at the 4-yard. A bone-breaking, shattering pick 6 that still leaves Louisiana with a little bit of a cushion, but it goes from being a 10-point game to being a 3-point game. And then Bryant Dynasty leads Atlanta down one final time, down deep into the red zone, close to the red zone. Another 30-plus yard passing touchdown, his second of the day. Finds, I believe it was Boo Chisholm. That's it. That's how the game went. Atlanta comes away with a come-from-behind victory, a game which, like you said, partner, came down to the wire. Really great game, all things considered. And that means Atlanta punches the first playoff ticket of season 20 with their East Division win.
Yeah, if Louisiana wins this game, correct me if I'm wrong, that only puts them a game. That would have put them a game back of Atlanta, right? Would have been 7-2 and 6-3. So that game was humongous for Atlanta to give them that cushion. I agree with that. Fox, what do you got for Tyler, bro?
Hey, Tyler. So as you said, Atlanta won the East this weekend, and they're 8-1, but they do look vulnerable at times. Louisiana sits at 5-4, but they're definitely better than their record suggests. Obvious bias aside, how deep of a run do you think each one of those can make when it comes playoff time?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think we're going to find out with Atlanta having to play Indy and Tulsa in the next 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Really figure out, because those two teams in that Central Division are going to be still vying for their respective division title and vying for a playoff spot all themselves. So the next 2 games, Atlanta on the road versus Indy this week, and Atlanta at home versus Tulsa the following week, will be really good testing stones for the Swarm and their playoff ambitions. I think the Swarm, yes, shaky at times, 1 loss, but able to find ways to get the job done. And you need to be a little perceptive in some areas. And so I think Atlanta has a good shot at making a deep run. Revolution, we saw it this last week. One man goes down, it affects everything that the Revolution does. And that's the same with a lot of teams. That just goes to the credit and the prowess that Liam Hammer brings to the Louisiana Revolution on the field and off the field. So the Revolution have 2 trap games. First one coming up at home versus Portland on Next Level Sports this Saturday, and final week of the regular season versus Jacksonville, who currently at this point have lost 7 straight. So it's going to be tough for Louisiana to make sure they're not only prepared for teams that are maybe out of the playoffs officially, but also ready for more hardened opponents like an Atlanta, like a Minnesota, like a Tulsa, as they approach the playoffs, if they can make sure they're ready for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, if I did my math correctly, Louisiana now is the first team out looking in the playoffs. But if they went out, they're probably in, because otherwise everybody ahead of them is going to have to win out, right? So, which is probably highly unlikely. The couple teams, San Diego being one of them, actually. So it'll be interesting. This is the best time of year, Tyler, when we come down to the wire, and if this team wins, but they beat this team and the other team loses, I love this shit, bro. It's fucking great. So, all right, thanks for breaking the East down, Tyler. Fox, that brings us to you in your division in the North. London finally getting on track these last few weeks. It seems like Canton, a surprise team early, but they've kind of leveled out. Queen City still looking for their first win. Tell us how these teams did this weekend.
Well, Dave, so the North is the worst division in the SFL. They have an 11-26 combined record, which is a .297 win percentage.
Ouch.
And in division play, they're 6-21. So that kind of tells you something too. Week 11, all 4 teams played teams from the South, and they were all road games. Canton took one on the chin to Fort Worth, losing 37-23. For most of the season, Canton's offense has resembled a bunch of nursing home residents meandering to the community television to watch a rerun of Cocoon.
Bullet's going to love listening to that.
But finally, there were signs of life. They scored 23 points, which was their second highest of the season.
Wow.
They had really good outputs from Al Dillapre Sr., Jack Wall, Mike Twinscrew. Their running game was still non-existent. Cam Curtis threw for 375 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he also threw 6 interceptions, which is a long way towards, not winning that game, which, by the way, through 9 games, he has now surpassed O.J. Bruin towards the lowest QBR. His is 57.9.
Wow.
And the record is 56.4 by good old Johnny Pickler. A guy I kind of know a little bit.
But we're not talking about that, right?
No, we're not talking about that. Not at all. That's a different Pickler.
Somebody clipped that and tagged Johnny in the server.
Yeah. I figured that was going to happen. London overcame a slow start to offensively to beat Alamo City 30-17. Their offense was as predictable as ever, as predictable as a Johnny Pickler interception. But that's also what makes it unpredictable. The defense looked much more like it did in season 19. They held Brad Jones to 44 all-purpose yards on 22 touches. On the other side of the ball, Robert Merrill looked a lot more like he did in season 17, rushing 24 times for 49 yards. But he also scored all 3 of London's touchdowns. Ultimately, Pickler led the Knights to victory by controlling the game's tempo. He evenly distributed the ball to all his receivers, and he only threw 1 interception. Only 1 interception.
That's good in this league, bro.
Yeah, it is. It really is. The Motor City Houston game was kind of a tale of 2 halves. meaning it was close when I fell asleep halfway through the second quarter. And it was a blowout when I woke up at the end because Houston ran away with it 52-24. Outside of big receiving days by Shane Kaufman and Orain Darby, I had a hard time finding positives in Motor City this week. They only had 35 yards rushing, which I don't know much about game planning, but they with a fullback that's been in the league as long as he has and 3 tight ends, which they've got more tight ends than a Detroit strip club.
Hey yo, but
that you think their ground game would be better. But like I said, I don't know much about game planning. Maybe the transition to the new game will work, and we'll see the turnaround we've been waiting for out of Motor City for the last few seasons. Queen City, their struggles continued as they lost to Mexico City 38-13. They ran into some bad luck this week. They had bad luck against Vegas week 1 when they inexplicably lost that game when they shouldn't have. But this week they actually came out looking really strong, really competitive, and then Cam's Xbox crashed so hard that even he couldn't figure out what happened. So they had to restart the game, and then they lost by 25 points. So who knows what might have been, but bad luck for them. James Matthew Jr., he was really the only bright spot in the game for them. He had 126 yards receiving and a touchdown. You can tell that they're close. Lakeman is definitely a Rookie of the Year candidate. Spelling and who else is that? Spelling and Powell are good wide receivers. Can't forget about Jet Zero. They're the only team in the North with a positive turnover ratio. So you see the building blocks there. They've got a young defense that they're going to grow, but it's just going to take time. But you can already see what they're capable of. Other than that, I got a little trivia question for you there, Dave.
Okay.
Other than London, do you know when the last time a team from the North won a game?
Probably Canton against San Diego.
It was week 6 when Canton beat San Diego 16-13.
16-13. That was like maybe the worst SFL game I've ever seen in my life. It was so slow and sad and terrible.
I enjoyed it though.
I wore black for like a week after that. Well, you shouldn't have enjoyed it because Canton. You needed Canton to lose, bro.
Yeah, but
I'm just.
San Diego.
I know. That's all right.
Motor City did beat Queen City that week as well, but seriously, in the last 5 weeks, Canton, Motor City, and Queen City 0 combined wins. That's crazy.
And what sucks is that 2 of those wins are in San Diego's strength of victory for the playoff tiebreakers, which is not looking good for us. However, here's my question for you, bro. I want to talk about London and Canton have gotten the majority of the press in this division this season.
Mm-hmm.
I want to focus on the other 2 teams tonight.
Okay.
We know Queen City's in a rebuild, right? They started the rebuild last season. They really kind of turned things over once again this season with bringing in new owners and kind of starting from scratch, getting rid of their old GM. I think they promoted Tom Welsh and brought in Bovine and James Klein. And so it's a great group there, and I could see the future potential there, right? Now, we haven't seen it on the field yet this season, but it's the first season, so I get that. Motor City, on the other hand, is in their second season of Motor City, their 3rd season with their new tight end offense. Moving forward, which of these rebuilds will be more successful the soonest?
I think it's going to be Queen City. Like I said, you can see the foundation that they're building with their coaches and the owners and the players they've gotten. If I remember correctly, I think that at Queen City had 8 rookies come in, something like that, right around that number during the draft.
I feel like it was even more than that, but it was a lot. It was a lot.
But at least it was a lot, and so they were young. But the more they stay together, then they're going to grow together, and they're going to continue to advance their players, and they're just going to get better. You can see it. Really, Queen City right now should probably, because they're 0-4 in 1-score games. 2 of those were 3-point or like back-to-back 3-point losses. They could easily be 4-5 right now, 3-6, but they've come up with some bad luck. So I think that out of those 2 teams, I think that the Queen City, I shouldn't say experiment, but their rebuild is going to get there sooner. Yes.
Okay. All right, Fox. Thanks for breaking down the North. Appreciate it. That brings us to the part of the show where we bring my boy Gunny on. Gunny's Fire Watch, letting us know who's on fire and who to watch. Gunny, welcome back. Oh, there you go, Nacho. Oh, you guys can barely hear it, huh?
I heard it.
There's my alarm to tell Nacho to go. Anyway, Gunny, how you doing tonight, buddy? Welcome back to the program, man.
I'm good. The alarm was that the Fire Watch alarm?
Yeah, it was. It was the alarm to remind me that you need to come on the show and that Ray needs to put the Marine Corps him in the chat, which she just did. Has she been doing it every week, or has she been slacking? I feel like she's been slacking. I don't know. What do you think, Gunny?
I don't pay attention, so I don't know. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and tell her she's squared away.
Typical Gunny answer, right? Typical Gunny. I'm throwing Ray under the bus. He's like, no. Let me help you, Ray. Let me help you. All right, Gunny, what do you got for us tonight, buddy?
We're just going to go over the divisions of division records per each team and the playoffs and key games coming up for Week 12.
All right, knock it out of the park. It's all you now.
All right, Pacific, 13 wins, 23 losses. The West, 23 wins, 15 losses. The South, 23 wins, 16 losses. The North, 11 wins, 26 losses. The East, 19 and 17. Atlantic, 19 and 19. The Central is 23 and 13. That is 130 games. There are 6 teams that are on a bye week this week. Arizona, Mexico City, San Diego, Motor City, DC, and Charleston. There are, there are 16 teams at 500 or better this week. There are 3 teams, 1 game below 500, 9 teams at 3 wins or less.
Wow.
And 7 teams are eligible for the Tyler Falks record of 2 and 10. So, Tyler, before the show's over, try to give me your who do you think's going to finish 2 and 10.
That should be a segment. Absolutely. Go ahead, Gunny.
Let me see. The games to look forward to this weekend, where there's playoff implications, London and Houston, they're 6 and 3 and 5 and 5 respectively. AC plays Canton. ACA is 15th, and right now they're 5 and 5, and right now they're the 16th seed. The next game, Portland is 4 and 5, Louisiana 6 and 3. Sioux Falls, another 4 and 5 team against Vancouver, which is division leader at 5 and 4. Fort Worth is 6 and 3 at Queen City. Fort Worth could take a tie up Mexico City for the lead in the South Division. Tulsa's 7 and 2 against Seattle. LA and Florida are the only teams that don't have that. They're both not competing for playoffs. That's LA at Florida. Baltimore plays Carolina. Carolina's fighting for their playoff spot at 4 and 5. Another game, Jacksonville is at Minnesota. So Minnesota's trying to catch up to Tulsa. Atlanta's going to play in Indianapolis. They're both in the playoffs. And Denver, 2 and 7, is at Las Vegas at 7 and 2. Good luck to everybody in this week. Most teams have played 9 games. A few teams have played 10. So it's wrapping up in a couple weeks. Good luck to everyone. Dave, that is all.
All right, Gunny, thank you so much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, Gunny's Fire Watch, letting us know week to week who's on fire and who to watch. Gunny, thanks for being here, buddy. We'll see you next week. He timed that perfectly. I know that those of you on the panel and stuff cannot hear the music, but when you hear it back, perfect. Gunny, the amount of time you did tonight, do that every week, man. It was perfect. All right. Hey, what time is it? 55. We're going to do one more division, and then we're going to bring, and then we do have the Owner's Box segment tonight, and then we'll knock out the other 2 divisions, Diva of the Week, and our Pick'em. So, Frank, back to the top of the order, bro. The Atlantic Division. Baltimore, impressive as ever. Eddie even mentioning it in the chat. I don't think there is anybody listening right now of the 40-some-odd people listening that have not been beat by Baltimore at some point in their career. But other than that game, tell us about how the rest of this weekend went down. Oh, is that right? Oh, you guys only played them once, though, right? Axel? Okay. Look at that. T-Pat, Axel talking shit. He's undefeated against you, bro.
You know, what can you say about Baltimore? It's their division to lose, but that's not going to happen. They're 8-1, a 4-game lead in the division over Carolina. Their only loss has been to a hot Fort Worth team. Their offense is ranked 3rd overall. Carolina is 16th, DC 17th, Charleston 27th. Scoring points are not a problem for Baltimore. They're ranked 7th, while everyone else in the division are towards the bottom. Defensively, Baltimore has given up the least amount of points with 147 total in the year. Carolina is 8th, DC is 12th, Charleston is 15th. The quarterback play in all this division for all 4 quarterbacks is middle of the pack towards the bottom of the list, with Jack Wigmore sitting at 18th. As far as yardage is concerned, if you go to QBR rating, Jack Wigmore is 2nd overall with 101 QBR. Shabazz is 92.4, which is 7th. Matt South is at 13th at 88.9, and Kentez Johnson is 21st with a 79 QBR. Kevin Say leads the division in rushing with 875 yards and 9 touchdowns. Ivory Irvin leads the division with 709 yards and receptions, and is tied in the division with Mike Churchill with 7 touchdowns. Riley Cuse is division leading 89 tackles, and Sir Ron Yates is 2nd overall in the league with 11.5 sacks. Ben Stacking Paper has 7 interceptions. A lot of people have been focused on how Baltimore runs their offense, but Baltimore's defense is so strong, it should be looked at. 4 talented defensive linemen. Alvin Mack playing linebacker, he just plays lights out. I think just about every game he's either picking a ball off for a touchdown or scooping and scoring. He's just all over the place. And a talented defensive backfield. And then their special teams. At any moment, a touchdown is going to be a kickoff return is going to go back for a touchdown. It's just they can score at any time with any facet of the game, and it's propelled this team into multiple titles. And I know Fort Worth beat them, and I talked about it earlier, but Baltimore is well built, well coached, and they have a dynamic front office. All the pieces will have to fall in place for a team to have a chance to unseat them as the champions.
Unfortunately, 3 of those 7 stacking paper interceptions came against San Diego in one game, so that was kind of ugly.
I didn't want to mention that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Eagle Mondavi making an appearance, ladies and gentlemen, saying the logo behind me is gross and only 25% of my teams are in. At least one of my teams are in, bro. I got 1 team in the Final Four. I mean, how many people after this tournament can even say that, to be honest with you? Fox, what do you got for Frank on this Atlantic Division?
Well, I'm kind of wondering more about DC. DC in the last couple of seasons has they started out really strong, and then they've kind of faded towards the end of the season and didn't make much of a splash in the playoffs. This season, it seems like they had a really slow start, but they've come on really strong lately. Do you think they could make a run in the playoffs?
I do believe they could make a run into the playoffs. The strong running game with Kevin Say, he ate us up. I think he scored 3 touchdowns and had buku yards.
Is that the official? Is that the official number?
That's the official number, buku. They do have a chance. I think they do a good job in game planning. The only thing is that sometimes if they get behind the passing game, is it built to come from behind if it's a large deficit? That just remains to be seen, but they do have a chance. Carolina, they're sitting in second place right now, but DC's right behind them. Matter of fact, they might even be tied now after this week. I think are they both 5-5 or are they 4-5? I can't remember what the record is.
DC is 5-5.
Okay, so yeah, I think DC does have a chance.
Yeah, I'm looking at 5-5. Oh, actually, well, I think Carolina's 4-6. DC
Carolina's 4-6. He's 5-5.
5-5, and then 2-8 for Charleston. That's what I have.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. I was going to comment on something in the chat. And I forgot what it was. But am I the only one who just now that since Eagle brought up the logo behind me, am I the one who thinks it looks like the San Diego Spear is like shooting me in the head? I appreciate nobody saying that. Of course, it's probably in the chat from before. I probably just missed it all. All right, Frank, thanks for breaking down the Atlantic. And ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the next segment of the Owner's Box. And we have, I'm going to be dying from the spear. Yeah, thank you, Gunny. Appreciate that. From the Baltimore Vultures that we just got done talking about. So this worked out. This is like the perfect segue. T-Pat is joining us tonight. And we're going to pick his brain a little bit and talk to him about the history of him and TJ and Baltimore and everything. So T-Pat, first of all, welcome back to the program. I haven't talked to you, I think, since last season, bro.
Yeah, good to be back.
Oh, let me turn you up a little bit. Hold on.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're a little muffled, it sounds like.
Can you hear me now? Is that any better?
I mean, we can hear you. You just sound a little muffled. Can you guys understand him pretty okay? Yeah.
He's been kidnapped and stuff.
He's like, yeah.
No, I'm using AirPods and that may be contributing to it.
Oh, there you go.
I can switch off.
Right where you are right now. Don't move for the next 20 minutes.
Okay.
And somebody called 911.
Yes, exactly.
I'll blink 3 times before I'm in trouble.
Exactly. If TJ has kidnapped you, cough 3 times and we'll send the. Anyway, T-Pat, welcome back to the show, bro. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks. Good to be back.
So what I've been doing on this segment is kind of going back and working our way to the current day. First, I'd like to know, how did you, and you know, for the people listening, let them know, how did you find out about the SFL and when was that? And what was your first activity when you joined?
Sure. I found out about the SFL, I think, back in season 3, which was the first season that we started doing all-pro football. I could be wrong about some of these things because they happened a long time ago.
Right.
I was playing in the Casual Adult Gamers League, which was like a person versus person league, sim league with TJ and several of the other guys who are in the league.
Hey, T-Pat, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. So, did you say you're on AirPods?
Yes.
Yeah, you're going from super clear to really muffled, like just back and forth.
Here, let me try without them.
Okay.
All right. Let's see.
Hold on.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, that's perfect. That's way better.
Is that much better?
Yeah, that's way better. Okay, so season 3 in that same league that TJ was in, that a lot of guys were in, that ended up moving to the SFL, right?
Yes, that's correct. And TJ started a team, the Baltimore Crabs, which makes sense because Baltimore's known for its crab cakes.
Yep.
And
somebody told us it was because TJ's always crabby.
yeah, that's also a possibility.
Maybe
possible that he lives in Baltimore just for that reason. He's trying to find a place that matches his personality.
Exactly. Boom. There you go.
So I started on the Crabs as the coach. I was actually in Uganda when we started, so it was a little hectic and it was kind of a whole team effort. One cool thing about this season in general was that most people had kind of like a role players type approach to the game. Like they had some sort of theme and they named all the players after whatever theme they wanted, but they didn't represent real people. At the time, Cam was broadcasting games. The games had, like at most 5 people watching, and he was still giving, full effort and everything like that.
That sounds like Cam.
Yep. And so he's really trying to grow the league. And so TJ had this idea, what if we name every player on the team after one of the players in the league who wants to participate? And the only, requirement from them is that they show up and watch the games and cheer for our team. So the Crabs were the first team that had every player on the team, there were 10 legends at the time, was named after a real life person. Wow. And represented that person. And I did not have a player on the team. I just wanted to coach. So when I started, initially I started off in the U.S. I can explain a little later why I went to Uganda. That's kind of like an unrelated thing. And of course, I made like a huge spreadsheet with tons and tons and tons of plays. A lot of people at the time especially said that, we knew a lot about the game and that gave us a big advantage. But the premise that I started from was that I needed to forget everything that I knew about the game, because the plays that worked in player versus player didn't really work in the sim version of the game. So I basically I would go into practice mode and just do hundreds and hundreds of plays and see which ones seemed to work the best, and slowly started putting together a playbook that way. So that was the first season. In the middle of the season, I was going on like a medical mission trip, and so I happened to be in Uganda during the middle of the season. So I'd have to like watch games, and I'd message back to TJ, hey, let's see if we can try these plays. And then
what's the time difference to Uganda? Did you have to stay up late or get up early, or both?
Both. Yeah, they're 8 hours ahead of us.
Okay.
So it's right now, it's like 6 a.m. there. So yeah, the times were really kind of wacky. Like I'd have to be up at like 3 a.m. to watch games and things like that. And it's also a challenge to get airtime to do that, because I'd have to like stream it. And so anyway, you can imagine, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
So that's how we started. We went undefeated in the regular season. There were only, I think, 7 or 8 teams. I think 7, and 4 made the playoffs. We made the playoffs, and we lost our initial playoff game to the San Francisco Bulldogs, owned by Daley Holder, who's currently on our team.
Mm-hmm.
Which was that was a pretty big upset of a game.
Yeah, at the time, if you guys were undefeated, for sure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is all. So this is still season 3.
Correct.
Right. So how long were you with the Baltimore Crabs, before you went and got your own team, or how did that whole thing play out?
Yeah, so after that season, I applied for the 8th team, and I got it. Okay. So I got the Maulers. And that was, of course, our first season with the Maulers was a pretty controversial one, because I decided to go with an all-pass offense.
Oh, was that you that did that?
Yes, it was.
That's a rule. There's a rule because of that. Right. That's why you're the reason why.
Exactly. So, I guess this is my little soapbox to talk. I've talked about it before. We kind of argued about it ad nauseum at the time. I really didn't do it because I thought it would be a lot easier. I mean, if it's 3rd down and 1, it's a lot easier to just run your goal back right up the middle than it is to try to come up with a passing play to get, 1 yard reliably. I really did it because it was something different, and I was, no one else was doing it. Everybody at the time had a gold running back and a gold middle linebacker. We only had 10 players, so it was like 2 golds, 3 silvers, 5 bronzes, and everybody got an offensive lineman. So every team was built to run and built to stop the run. I thought it would be kind of a cool idea, see if we could just pass the ball all the time. So that's what we did. Definitely it wasn't a season where we were on autopilot. I think I made the max number of playbook changes every single week in and out, which was still 20. So that's what we did, and we went undefeated that season from start to finish. Scored an ungodly number of points against certain teams. The season after, I had a lot of injuries. So there were a couple of things. I didn't have a running back, and they changed the system, obviously, so that I basically needed to have a running back.
Right.
So I tried to convert a wide receiver to running back, but then the first game he got hurt. So I did really badly that season. I think it's the only season I've had a losing record. Because I think we had a gold, a silver, and a bronze out
And
of
this
10.
is so. What is this like? Season 5 now? Is that where you're at?
Yep.
Season 5. Okay.
We had a gold, a bronze, and a silver get hurt. And at the time, injuries weren't like one game. Like if your player went out for the season, he was actually out for the
Oh
season.
shit! So if it was 3 weeks, it was 3 weeks, and you had to take him out of the lineup for the next 2 weeks.
Yep. But I had my gold running back and a silver safety go out for the whole season.
Ouch. Okay. So that's season
Which is
5. So
which is also why that rule exists now.
That's right. I was just gonna that too. So that's season 5. So how long were you an owner then, and when and how and why did you and TJ get back together? I guess, for lack of a better term.
I can't remember if I went. I think I went to 7. I think I went to season 7 with the Maulers and 1 in season 7. That was actually a very. I was very proud of that coaching job because we entered the playoffs 7-5, and we're playing against a team that destroyed us in the regular season, and we beat them in the finals. After that was the point where I was switching to my clinical years of medical school, and I always felt like, especially at the time, there were only 8 teams, that if I didn't have time to really devote to the team, I was going to give up the team and let somebody else do it, and not just like hang on to it, but do a crappy job.
Right.
So that's what I did. And I was out for 2 or 3 seasons after that. I didn't really participate in the league very seriously. I would still watch games, but I wasn't a coach or an owner. I actually came back as a coach for 1 season with Frank Gooden. At the time, I think they were the Tallahassee
Pride. I think.
Pride. Yep.
Yep.
We had a pretty good season. We didn't win any championships or anything, but we made the playoffs. And then I went to the first. Me coming back started at the SFL convention, the very first one in Dallas. I wasn't going to go, but just on a whim, I was like, hey, why not? I'm traveling around interviewing. Why don't I go and check it out and see what it's all about? And I really enjoyed it. And that convention got me thinking, why don't I get back into this? So I started looking at, different teams. And I just remembered when I was with TJ and the Crabs, we just had a lot of fun. We were able to talk shop. And one thing about being a sole owner, especially before there were really user players, you didn't really have anybody to kind of enjoy anything with. It was just you, basically. Right. So I thought that was good. And I also knew that he knew the game and everything about the roster would be on point. So I could just kind of do what I do best, which is coach. I can't remember if I started off doing defense or if I only did offense, but probably I only did offense. Actually, the first season, I can't remember. I think the first season that I was there, I don't exactly remember. It was a long time ago. But I do remember that the first championship that we won as the Baltimore Vultures was when I was just an owner, but not a coach. So TJ won that all by himself. I didn't really contribute anything more than an occasional piece of advice here and there.
So wait, so what season was it that you guys got back? What season are we on right now that you guys got back together and you were coaching?
I think we got back together. I think we got back together in season 11.
11. And that title was won before you got there? Is that what you were saying?
No, I was an owner, but I wasn't coaching at all.
But you weren't coaching. Okay. So,
yeah.
Wait, okay. So I wasn't around then, so I didn't even realize Baltimore had won. I knew that TJ had won one, I guess, back in the day, or you had won one, and there was questions on which franchise it was or something, but...
it was the first one. It's the first one that we won. I think I came back and coached for a while, but then I had to stop coaching just based on like my responsibilities in real life. So I think I actually did come back and coach for about 3 seasons. We didn't ever win a title. And then I had to take like a season off. And then our Baltimore's first title, TJ coached that team by himself. And then I think I started coaching again the season after that.
And then in the current status of the team with you guys, the first chip was in, what was that, 16, 15, 16?
I'll say we're on what, 20 now?
Yeah, so 14 was Atlanta. I think 15 was Denver. So I think you guys were 16?
16, and then 17 we didn't, and then 18, 19.
19.
No, I think it's
no.
the other way. I think it's 15, and then 16 was Denver, and then 17, 18, 19.
Okay, there you go. And that's so there's 4 chips with the current ownership.
Correct.
But so you only have 4 stars on your logo. Why do you not count the OG chip?
No, our franchise has only won 4. Sorry if that was confusing.
Oh, okay. So you said season 15, and then Denver won in 16,
yeah.
And you won 17,
Right.
18, 19?
Correct.
That's 4 right there, though. That's 15, 17, 18, and 19.
Yep. Do we not have 4 stars?
You do have 4 stars, but what I'm saying is because of the one that was won back in the old days, shouldn't there be a 5th star? Or Tyler actually has the answer.
No.
Tyler has the answer to this. Go ahead, Tyler.
Mr. Paternity, can I go ahead and jump in for you?
Sure.
So the reason why the 2 Baltimores are not connected, this is a league history. Due to
Go close to your microphone, Tyler.
Is this better, Dave?
Way better.
Okay. The fact that the Baltimore Crabs have left the league in terms of not bringing back. Let me start over once more.
Maybe go further back away from the microphone, Tyler.
All right. Can everybody hear me now?
Oh, shit.
Can everybody hear me? Okay, let's do this.
All right.
The Baltimore Crabs left the league as the Baltimore Crabs because they did not come back as the Baltimore Crabs.
Oh, it doesn't
Hammond Irvine,
count.
alongside Baltimore
okay.
ownership, came up with Baltimore Vultures, i.e. the 2 Baltimores, 2 different franchises.
So does that
But
count
the
for
Baltimore-
T-Pat? Or T-Pat, does
But the
that chip count for you?
The Baltimore Crabs never won a championship, though. They came close a lot of times. I won 2 but the Baltimore Crabs never won. So that's why it was such a big deal for TJ to win in season 15. That was
Gotcha. Okay.
Baltimore teams were always very good and were always in the playoffs and were always contenders, but could never quite get that monkey off our back until.
Well, that monkey
15.
is way long gone off your back now, T-Pat. So I got 2 more questions for you, and then I'm gonna let you go. First question. Why all of a sudden success the last few seasons now? Like starting in 16. Like you've been here since 3, and you bounced and came back or whatever, but from 3 to 16, there was 1 chip between the 2 of you. Now all of a sudden you guys are dominating every single season. What's the difference?
When we came back, I think there was we knew there was going to be a period of time where we had to rebuild. I mean, just when we joined the league again as the Baltimore Vultures in whatever season it was, like season 11, our roster wasn't great. I mean, I remember a particular cornerback who basically had like generic attributes, but 3 animations. And he, of course, played like a generic cornerback. But you just kind of had to get whatever was available when you rejoined the league. So a lot of it has honestly been roster building. We've been able to keep a lot of the players that we have, and that certainly makes a big difference. You're not having to totally like retool your team every season. But just also the 2 of us, I do the offense, TJ does the defense. The 2 of us learning. I mean, I'm still learning today. I'm game planning for Carolina. I'm learning plays and things that I didn't know before. So just continue learning and growing. And, those toughest games are the ones that challenge you the most, but sometimes those are the ones where you learn the most.
So before I ask you your last question, T-Roy put in the Access Live server, Baltimore Crabs unfortunately did not win an SFL championship during that era, which we cleared up. He said Dr. T-Pat's Minneapolis Maulers did win 2 titles, and I think that's maybe where the misconception comes. What my understanding had always been, T-Pat, is that TJ won 1, you won 1, and then you guys started winning together in season 16, which now we know. And this is why we do the Owner's Box segment, so we can clear all that up.
Sure, that's correct.
Last question. You seem to be one of the bigger supporters of the new direction of the SFL heading into the new game next season. I've asked every single owner so far on the owner's box how they feel about it, what their personal views are on it. And to be honest with you, it's been mixed. I'd say maybe slightly, maybe 60-40 pro for it. But there's still, it seems to me that there's still some doubters out there. As one of the biggest supporters, what would you like to say, since you've got the floor now in front of everybody, on what is good about this game and why we should move on to it and why it's a positive thing?
Maybe I'll just give you my thoughts about it, because I don't know if I have a 100% positive view of it. I definitely think that the graphics are going to be a little bit of a step down in terms of like player models, but there's a lot of things to like about the new game. There's a lot more variety in terms of formations and plays. Everyone can see the customization that you can make. I mean, you can even put players' faces, like real life faces, on the players,
Right?
Which is super cool. You can completely customize the stadium. And when you watch more and more games, you actually do see a lot of improvements in the AI. Some of the kind of wonky things that are in All Pro Football just aren't in 2K4. I mean, All Pro Football introduced a hard countability for quarterbacks. I'm pretty sure that's why every time there's a 4th and 1, the computer AI has you go up and try to like draw an offside, because they're trying to create a way to or program in a way to feature that ability that they created for certain players in the game. And that just doesn't exist in 2K4. And so you don't get so many like nonsensical type thing, like a fake field goal instead of a 2-point conversion this past week. That was terrible.
That was
right.
Yeah, that was terrible.
So you're going to get a lot better in terms of that. And honestly, I think the game is going to be a little more out of the coach's hands in terms of play calling, because you're going to have so many more plays. But I think that's what Cam feels is more realistic. And it may, whether that turns out to be a good thing or a bad thing, I just don't know. I think the conversion of, one roster from one format to another, there's a lot of unknowns. I trust the league. I know they've been working very hard on it, and I don't want to say, I don't like it before I see what it's going to be. I kind of have an idea of what it's going to be. So, I mean, honestly, a lot of it, no one can say truthfully that they know if it's going to be great or terrible, because they just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So
until we really put it through like an entire season, right? On the changing of the plays and the roster files and all this. I feel like we need to put a whole season together before we can actually look at the data and say it was better, it was worse, it was successful, or whatever. I personally, T-Pat, I think the situationals are better in the new game. And you used a great example, that fake field goal. But,
yeah.
The always having to go to 14 seconds before you call a timeout, or kicking a field goal on 3rd down with 1 timeout left and you're in the red zone, those kind of things. I haven't seen those bad things in the new game.
Exactly.
Is that kind of what you're talking about as far as that part goes?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
The overall game logic's a lot better.
It is. Yeah, I feel like that too. Now, I agree with you. I think the graphics are a tiny step back, but I'll give up graphics for better gameplay any day, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are of the same opinion.
Yep, I agree. Well, T-Pat, thanks for taking the time. I'm glad we finally were able to get together and get you on the Owner's Box segment. Congratulations on all your success over the last few seasons. And I would tell you good luck for the rest of the season, but you probably don't need it.
No, we always need luck. I always say good coaching is a prerequisite, but good luck is necessary.
There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, T-Pat in the house, co-owner of the Baltimore Vultures, 4-time SFL champions. T-Pat, thanks again, bro. Hopefully we'll have you back in the future.
All right, thanks, man.
Thanks, bro. All right, folks, there you go. A lot of history there in that franchise, and I'm glad we got to clear some stuff up, to be honest with you. I didn't realize TJ had never won before season 16, so that's good to know. And I feel like didn't Denver win 2 in that period somewhere too? I 15 and or was it 13 and 15 maybe? Anybody know? No.
13 and 16.
Yeah.
No.
Baltimore won it in 15.
Or 15. There you go. See? 13, 15, Monday,
13,
Thursday,
15.
Wednesday, Tuesday, whatever. It's all the same. Eddie Gage. Oh, Eddie Gage is here. What's up, Eddie? I thought you bounced on us, bro. All right, here we go. Let's get back into the last 2 segments before we get into our Diva of the Week, and that'll take us to the Pacific Division and Axel Raven, LA, Portland, Seattle, Vancouver. This has been a very roller coastery, interesting division. How did it work out this weekend?
Yeah, so a lot of passion with these teams. So again, like I mentioned before, this division also only had one sole game between the 4 teams. 2 of the teams had byes. Was not planned this way by myself.
But dude, you're getting screwed on this, really.
I mean, or maybe I lucked out.
Or yeah, sure. Right. Either way.
All right. So both Vancouver and LA had a bye this last weekend. Looking at them, so Vancouver leads the pack at 5-4, 1 game ahead of Portland at 4-5. Their last 3 games are fairly winnable. Vancouver versus Sioux Falls, Vancouver versus Sioux Falls, Jacksonville, and Portland are the 3 final games for Vancouver. So I think, if they can win, 2 of the 3, that gets them at 7-5 playoff contenders, or winning the division. Maybe they win out all 3. Who knows? But they are definitely winnable. Historically looking back at the Vancouver that we know of previous seasons. LA on the opposite side at 2-7 right now are sitting at the bottom of the division. And I think looking at the rest of their season, they could be just simply trying to right the ship, as in the name of learning, right? Trying to, see what try different things out, experiment, and see what can come out. Their defense has always been pretty solid. It's that offense that's just been fluctuating, and also prepping for season 21. I think Ramen and a variety of their players coaching front office staff has been working a lot in 4K23, getting their stadium set up, and I'm sure are exploring playbook things and that. Their final 3 games are against LA. I'm sorry, they are LA, Florida, Indianapolis, and Seattle. Some of them are winnable, so they could have another win or 2, perhaps. But we'll have to see how that wins out, or how that plays out. The other 2, Portland and Seattle, battled over this weekend. Portland being the victor of that game. So yeah, Cyrus Jive, the quarterback for Portland, ended with 70% passing completion, 183 yards, 0 touchdowns, but 3 interceptions and 0 sacks on him. Ezekiel Love had 31 carries for 96 yards and 1 touchdown, 3.1 yards per carry. So not like the huge blowout kind of thing that we, 5+ yards per carry that we might be used to seeing with London or with Portland with Love. So Seattle did a pretty good job of sort of stopping the run. And again, 70% completion is pretty decent, but not a lot of yard production nor much touchdown. On the opposite side, for Seattle, Blanton had 58% completion, a fair amount of yards at 280 yards, 1 touchdown, 6 interceptions, and 2 sacks. And then Baloo Scott, their running back, had only 10 carries for only 12 yards in the game, 0 touchdowns, 1.2 yards per carry. And in fact, those 2 sacks that Blanton had were for negative 12 yards, so pretty much zeroing out any of the running yardage that Baloo offered for the game. Their defense had 2 picks in the end zone to end Portland drives, which was awesome for them. But on the opposite side, Portland, in the very end, Seattle was right there, could have scored not a game-winning touchdown, a game-tying touchdown, I believe. But Portland ended up taking and intercepting that in the end zone to end the game. Dale McClain, Portland safety, had 3 interceptions, including a pick 6.
Nice.
Brady Gulch had 2 forced fumbles, and Mel Davis had 2. He was the one to pick up both of those, so 2 fumble recoveries for him. And then, it was just a big. Seattle was winning, and then Portland mounted a fourth quarter comeback and stole the game away from them with that interception.
Yeah, interesting that there was only one game in this division. You only had one in the other one too. But
Exactly.
it is what it is. But here's the thing. Here's my question for you. So, Vancouver's still only 5-4. Portland is now 4-5. The other two are 2-7. Their seasons are over. Does Portland make the playoffs? We know Vancouver's going to make it because they're going to win the division. They're going to win it. They're going to get it. But does Portland put together? I mean, they're 3-5, and we've said on the show, and I think it's the general consensus: 7 wins is going to get you maybe not even in the playoffs. Can Portland win out and do that?
So looking ahead, they face Louisiana this coming weekend. At Louisiana, which I think is going to be tough.
That's tough.
Then they face Sioux Falls at Sioux Falls, which I think has been a pretty stingy run stopper for the most part, and decent coverage. They've been, Sioux Falls has been roller coaster as well. If Sioux Falls plays well, Portland loses that one then, and then they play Vancouver at Portland to finish off the season for a second time, and that might be, I feel like Vancouver. Andy and Coco are going to probably be putting their heads down and spending a lot of time to try to make sure that they make it into the playoffs. Looks like.
How great would it be, though? 2 things real quick, Tyler, and then I'll let you go. Bo Martin Jr., I agree with you. Multiple 7-5 teams will definitely miss the playoffs this season. 7-5 is not going to cut it. You want to make the playoffs, you're going to have to be 8-4 for sure. But, Axel, how great would it be if Portland could put a couple wins together, Vancouver maybe goes 500 in their 2 of their games, and then it's for all the marbles on the last day of the season? That would be awesome, right?
That would be, yeah, and that's definitely possible. And it's even possible that, Portland wins these next 2 games against Louisiana and against Sioux Falls to put them at, I guess that would be 6-6. So that would be, yeah.
6, that's not going to cut it,
yeah, you're right.
The days of 6-6 playoffs are long gone, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Tyler, what'd you have?
So I just want to add food for thought for Vancouver. How many folks have
Hold on. A new segment on Axis Live, Tyler's Food for Thought.
Oh boy. Has anyone else realized that Vancouver is actually, sans, they're the worst team above 500 or at 500 at home. They've lost.
Does that include Canton? Or Canton's not at 500, are they?
Canton is below
500. Okay.
This includes Canton. This includes Queen City. Everybody. They're 5-4, and they've lost 4 of their 5 at home.
That's crazy.
That includes losses to Atlanta, to Portland, crucial tiebreaker, Louisiana, and Indiana.
I will say, I don't know how much this plays into it, Tyler, and this is my real only experience playing at Vancouver. 2019 playoffs, Vancouver was the number 1 seed. Lone Star was the number 4 seed. Lone Star went into Vancouver and won that game. Now, I don't know how Vancouver did last season, but if somebody were to look up last season, have they not done well at home the last 3 seasons?
I can get you an answer for that.
If you can do that, because I would say do it while the next guy's doing his segment, but that's you.
I'm calling both games. I'll do it, Dave.
Do everything. Welcome back to the Tyler Show. He's gonna have to do everything.
It's like I have to bring Netma back or something.
I'm going back I'm going on my second retirement. I'm out. Peace. Peace out. Oh boy. Andy's job plays a part in. Yeah, this season for sure, Eddie. What do you think about the last couple seasons though? And I meant season 18, by the way. I think I said season 19. It was season 18, Lone Star, in Vancouver in the playoffs when T-Pat decided to beat us in the championship game. I don't like that memory very much at all.
Vancouver last season at home, they were 5-1.
Oh, so okay, so it's not a multiple season thing. It's a this season thing. So Eddie could really be onto something. Andy's job plays a part in it. He's been traveling more in his job, what have you. So that's very possible. Moving on to the West, though, Tyler. This has been a crazy division, man. It's been a crazy division. Denver was in a crazy game. I think you called that game, didn't you?
I called that. And that was what T-Pat was talking about, the
field goal or extra point
field goal fake.
Yeah. Which, listen,
debacle.
How much time was left on the clock at that time? Because here's the thing: if I'm the team kicking it, I'm probably pissed off. But at the same time, if it's successful, you just tied the game.
It was just over 40 seconds. I think it was like 46 seconds.
So what do you take your chances with? Faking that and trying to get the 2 point, or on the onside kick, which we know, I don't know, what is it? Probably 80%, 85, 90% of the time it doesn't work.
I mean, hell, you just had Logan Keel come across with a spectacular catch in the back of the end zone. Just unreal completions by both quarterbacks to their respective receivers. Jay Hayden had a fantastic day. There was sans that last play. This game is right up there with the top 10, top 15 games of the season. This game was one to watch. Yes, a combined record at the time, 3 wins to split between the two teams. But it was a phenomenal game.
Well, before you get too into it, real quick, I just want to say, first of all, Jack Wall, that's not a question. Second of all, Eddie, I agree. That's probably the third option, right? Go for 2 the real way. Line it up and, punch it in one way or the other. So, all right, Tyler, the West Division, it's all yours.
All right, thanks, Dave. Let's go bottom to top, shall we? Motor City. Now it's their 5th consecutive week scoring 7 or less points through the first half, which includes 3 out of the 5, which also includes a win versus Queen City. 3 out of the 5 games only scoring a field goal in the first half.
Did you say Motor City?
Motor City. I think I said Motor City. If I did not, I apologize. MCV. Thank you, Eddie. He's always quick on it. Yes, Motor City, the one with the dog hanging out of the whole hot rod. Yes, that one. And of course, they just laid a goose egg versus Houston. Only 3 points in the game.
You're doing the West Division, right?
Oh.
Hey, Bullet Boletsky, you're welcome.
Come on, Bullet. I know you're sick in bed.
Hey, he's like, oh, Mexico City? No, they're in the South. My bad. Let's talk about Motor City instead. Yeah, that's still the wrong division.
Would anybody from the West like to come in and talk about the West?
Anyone at this point? Anyone?
Wow.
Right?
I had Motor City up for some odd reason on my list to go. I had Denver, San Diego, and Las Vegas to go, but I had 4 up because the site wasn't updated until just a few seconds ago with Arizona's game.
That's it. Blame it on poor Menor. Poor Menor. Not even here. Throwing Menor under the bus. Unbelievable.
And Menor does a fantastic job, and I promised myself I'd kind of go fast through this, Dave, because I want to get to Gunny's point about who's going to be 2-10 for this.
Okay.
I said it as a joke earlier, and I've been thinking about it, Dave, and you know what? I've gone into retirement so many times, and I was thinking about maybe coming up with a tease or something, but I'm going to tease it here. There is a very high possibility that Netma returns for season 20.
There you go, boom. Ladies and gentlemen, that's breaking news. Steve, you told me before I could have had the whole breaking news banner and everything, bro. Breaking news on Access Live right here. Boom.
So, if there is demand for it, if the folks want to come along for one more, this time we'll try and do an extended ride instead of cutting off halfway through the season. My for those that don't know, I got orders to Missouri, and hopefully I'll be able to spend some more time and with a refreshed slate, a renewed vigor in broadcasting, renewed vigor in content creating. I've got some ideas, but as I've been always saying, I need help from you, the community, to make this happen. So
there you go. So maybe I'll take off next season. Maybe we'll alternate seasons. How about that? All right, you want to talk? Go ahead.
Let's talk the West Division.
I mean, we could just skip the West if you want to. I mean, San Diego did finally win again, so you know.
There we go. All right, let's talk the Nightwing, shall we? They came along and they had the game versus Charleston. They were unable to do. I should say they were unable to do a whole lot, but they started out the game very hot, right?
Yeah,
they were unable to keep Charleston
keep the momentum
Bay, it was a very topsy-turvy, flip-floppy game, especially in that third quarter, where all of a sudden Charleston starts to make something happen. It goes all the way down to the fourth quarter, and we already know all the rest. Kentis Johnson goes for 25K passing yards. That was mentioned. Struthers, a phenomenal game for Gene Struthers in the loss. It was a shame that he could not be on the 2-point conversion. And that is something I'm looking forward to in season 20 with the new engine. Yes,
agreed.
That we hopefully will no longer see something like that happen again. For the second time in SFL history, that has happened. 81 completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, only sacked once, 44 of 54. It doesn't get much better than that, especially when Bailey O'Shaughnessy barely gets 15 rushing yards. That was the crucial blow to Denver's rushing attack. O'Shaughnessy could not get going. That's a huge credit to Charleston. All right, on to the rest of the West Division. Let's talk about the Mavs. That's what most of you all are here for, right?
That's what I'm
Carolina,
here for. I do
right?
this whole 2-hour show just so I can hear the 2 minutes about the Mavericks, bro.
So the game was decided in the first half. That second half, no offense could really get going besides a late drive in the fourth quarter, which ended up in a field goal for San Diego. But third downs were just the Achilles heel for both clubs. San Diego survived with a 7-12 average on third down. Carolina held to 4-12, 33% on third down. San Diego wins the time of possession battle. They win the first down battle. And, of course, they get cooking. Of course, Scar Patterson, 3 interceptions, doesn't come back to hurt them. Carolina's offense cannot capitalize. They do force a, if I was reading correctly, no, that was another game I was looking at, forcing a fumble and recovering a fumble. That was not Ike McBride, but they held Ike McBride to about 30 yards, which is always good if for any kind of defense, especially Ike. And what has happened to Ike McBride? I like Ike every once in a while at this point.
Wow.
Very hit or miss for Ike McBride.
Well, we definitely liked Robo in that game. I'll tell you that.
We did like Robo that game. Robo had a fantastic game. Mr. Robo had over 200 receiving yards and, of course, 1 touchdown for 70 yards. Phenomenal game for Mr. Robo as the Mavericks come away with victory against Carolina. On to the top 2, which invite San Diego back into the picture, hopefully. Las Vegas, we'll start with them. Home versus DC, and it didn't look like the Fury were rolling double sixes. They were rolling snake eyes every once in a while. Lowest third down conversion rate I've seen them in quite some time, 42% on third down. Could not keep DC's offense off the field, and it doesn't help when you give up a couple of interceptions and are sacked 3 times, a.k.a. Mr. Eric Price, and only a 61.2 completion rating for him. Even though Mason Kirby did have the lion's share of receptions and yards, close to 200 for him, 3 shy, and a touchdown. Defense unable to force all but 1 interception from Chris Mangle, who turned it back for 28 yards. But that was all she wrote as far as a whole bunch of positives were concerned for Las Vegas. However, they are spared their blushes after Arizona goes into Baltimore, and Eddie was talking with Cam and talking with the rest of us in the studios that he thought he had the game plan. He said if he had this game plan coming into the championship last season, they would have won. Unfortunately, didn't really look like that. There were some plays I thought Arizona would never run. Some plays I thought were completely off kilter from their usual game plan. A cover 1 almost, where Chima beats a corner on the outside, and he's gone for a long touchdown, and it just the floodgates opened in that fourth quarter. They're letting up 24 points in that third quarter. Arizona let up Baltimore, and unable. They were on and off in the first quarter, on in the second quarter, off in that third quarter, and right back on a little bit in that fourth. Ashley Jackson did not have a game to really be too terribly proud of. 3 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, 25 of 40 as far as passing in the air, and exactly 300 passing yards. DJ Moses did all he could just over 100 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns in the ball game. But Baltimore, of course, does things, and they come away with victory.
Fox, what do you got for our West Division here?
All right, Tyler. So Arizona sits at 8-2, and going into week 14, they have a game against Charleston, which is pretty winnable. Vegas is 7-2, and they have games against Denver and Baltimore, so they're probably going to go in 8-3, and then they play each other week 14. I think if Vegas wins, it's at Arizona. If Vegas wins, they'll have the season sweep, and they'll take the division. Can they do it?
Ooh.
Now, that is a very tough question. We just saw Charleston beat Denver, albeit in the extenuating circumstances. But both teams are on a bye, which gives Eddie and Charleston ample time to prepare for one another. And thank you, Eddie, for correcting me. Maybe it wasn't cover one, it's a defensive lapse in coverage. We see that sometimes. It just didn't look like it looked like more like cover one from a unseasoned eye. We'll call it. Can Las Vegas do it? They have beaten Arizona once. That was at home. Doing it in Arizona is a completely different story. They're going to have to beat Denver at home, and they're going to have to put up a good showing versus Baltimore. Recent history shows, including the last 3 times for Baltimore, they have these little hiccups in the back quarter of the regular season. All of a sudden, they put things together, and nothing, no one's wiser. So Vegas could very well come into this game at 9-2. 8-3 is much more likely. It's always possible for Baltimore to not come out like Arizona did versus Baltimore. They're on the road in hostile environment in one of the most beautiful stadiums the league has to offer. Can Vegas do it? Sure. I will give Vegas a 47.5%.
Are you trying to do math in your fucking head right now?
It's too late for math, Dave. It is way too late.
I couldn't tell if you were falling asleep or doing math in your head. One of the two.
No. I'll give them a 47.5 chance to do it. That requires Arizona to have a couple of lapses, which shouldn't happen at home. Anything is possible.
Anything is possible, and it has been a Wild West division for sure this season. Thanks for breaking that down. Let's move on to Diva of the Week for last week. This is where I always screw this up. Hold on. Let me look at my cheat sheet real quick. Is this week 10s? This is week 10 because we're going to talk about week 11. There you go. Week 10, Diva of the Week winner is, here it is right here.
3 wide to the right, 1 to the left. Bit of a high snap, and he'll have time. Throws the ball to the right side. Oh, the receiver. This is going to be trouble, and he's going to straight through. Touchdown, Carolina.
Cheesy pizza. Now, listen, it was close. There was actually, the day before voting end, there was a 3-way tie between Cheesy Pizza, Mike O'Neill's chair, and I think it was Hacker. And I think of the 3, I think Hacker ended up finishing 3 votes behind Cheesy Pizza and Mike O'Neill's chair 2. So the majority of the votes went to a generic player and a piece of furniture. So thank you very much, party people, for all your votes. Doing a stand-up job this season. All right, let's get back to this week's Diva of the Week nominees. Frank, let's start with you. First Diva of the Week nominee for week 11.
Well, first let's mention the fact that poor Hacker, lost to a ghost, somebody that doesn't really exist, and a chair.
Hey, on his birthday week.
On his birthday week. I mean,
that's messed up. SFL Nation, that's messed up, man.
All right, my Diva of the Week is Jack Napier from Atlanta for the pick 6 against the Revolution. Sorry, Mr. Polk, but the pick six, setting the tone for the comeback, and then getting an interception in the last minute of the game, not to seal the game because Louisiana still had a shot, but they had to use all their timeouts on the Atlanta's drive and got the ball back. But getting those 2 interceptions and pretty much sealing the game for Atlanta.
3-3 nickel defense. It's a 5-step drop in by Utah. He's going for it on his interception by Jack Napier. And that's basically going to do it.
He was never open. Damani went with the fade, and Jack Napier lined up about 12 yards off the ball. That play was a disaster from the moment it left Tommy Utah's hands. And don't look now, but Jack Napier, I know Louisiana has all 3 timeouts, but Damon.
Okay, week 11, nominee number 1, Jack Napier. Who's Diva of the Week nominee number 2, Axel?
So my Diva of the Week nominee is Denver's Gene Struthers. He seems to just have complete faith in his wide receiving core to just sort of lob passes up, and they seem to grab him out of the air and pull him down. For the most part, they end up losing that game, but there were times that they were just rocking it and threading that needle in there. So this is just one example of them.
Need to win out, and they have to win this ball game. Struthers over the middle,
Right into
caught by
coverage,
Keel.
threading
First
that
down to
needle.
the 26-yard line. The drive will continue. This could be the ball game right here.
Oh, yeah.
4 wideouts here for Struthers. Slants over the middle. He pumps once, hit as he throws. Caught by Mosley into the 1-yard line.
And you're
Back to the line they come.
They got to be quick here. This ain't a formation you want to go in when you're at the 1-yard line.
We
Yeah, I
saw
pulled
too
like,
many
I think
picks
5 or 6
in
clips,
the
and
end
he's
zone
like,
from the scenario.
Well, I do pick one, but then I was like, well, other than this one play, there were 3 passes in a row. So
We'll look to throw. Slants over the middle, under pressure. Escapes it. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Logan Keel! 2 points
seems to
away from
lob
a
it up,
tie
and
ball
they come down
game.
with it. So
all right. 2 Diva of the Week nominees down, 2 to go. Remember, at the very beginning of the program, I mentioned I do not have one, and I didn't really see anybody at me with the choice to throw in a 5th Diva of the Week nominee. So you've got couple more minutes while we go over nominees 3 and 4 to throw something out to me for me to make it official. But in the meantime, let's check out who's Diva of the Week number 3, or Diva of the Week nominee number 3, Tyler.
All right. So we're going to go right back to that game, and we're going to tag my broadcast partner, Brett Solberg, right? This man has turned into a comedian. There's a couple of things.
Did you say chameleon?
That too. There's a couple of things that I want to bring to the forefront, because this man all week long just was making people laugh.
Well, let's check out one of the examples.
What kind of impersonation are we going to get this time? We heard the Terminator early. We heard Caveman. Brett, what else do you have in your bag of tricks? We'll find out here in a second. Shotgun set on 3rd down. Slant pattern over the middle. Struthers off the helmet. Oh, what a grab! Interception! Plucks it from the turf. Matt Ryan.
Oh, you think you're wee and you got the fancy moves there, Mr. Ryan. You can't, get my eyes off you now after that fantastic grab. Basically on one knee, proposing to the turf, and with the reward, he gets an interception with the one knee down, and Charleston has a chance to break things open here.
Oh my goodness. Matt Ryan with his first career interception.
And I ruined it.
I think you added to it, partner, as past.
So that, yeah, I ended up listening to some more Tyler. He was all over the place, man.
If you guys want a meme to completely signify exactly just what the kind of week was, I'm going to post in Access Live, the show channel, or not the show channel, but the general, basically the Solberg saga, if you
That's
awesome. Let me go
awesome.
ahead and do that for all you.
Before we get to Fox's nominee, let me look and see what kind of nominees people were throwing out at me. Paulie says nominate future co-owner Paulie Truth. Is that going to be a thing? Crazy Canuck thinks I should nominate myself. Art Vandalay, how about Mike O'Neill's toilet this week? That'll work. And then now Doug Day is saying Pauly Truth. And Josh Farnsey, come on, Dave, another piece of furniture. How about Tyler's desk lamp? Holdorf wants.
I have 2 of them.
Yeah, Holdorf wants it to be him. He wants to nominate himself. How about Taylor to do Diva Lane on Tyler? Oh, the cat. Maybe the flat cap. I don't know. Maybe what if I nominate the San Diego Aztecs? Can we do that? That would be nice. How about that? San Diego Aztecs in the first Final Four. I don't know what I'm going to do, Fox. Why don't you tell us about yours in the meantime?
All right, Dave. My Diva of the Week nominee is Mike Twin Screw. For that amazing catch off a tipped ball that went for a touchdown that wasn't a touchdown. I mean, it was called a touchdown on the field, but he fell at the 1 yard line, but got up with such swagger and confidence that even Fort Worth was like, well, we just can't challenge that, and it went for a touchdown.
So wait. Now, if I remember correctly, before we watched the clip, they reviewed it, but I don't have the part on the clip. What did they call it?
I didn't see a review. Then again, I didn't see.
Tyler, were you on the call on that game?
For Twin Screw, no, I was not.
It was Canton and
in Fort Worth.
In Fort Worth. Anybody is Nacho? Anybody still in the chat? Anybody know if the clip you're about to watch right now was called a touchdown, or did they have to punch it in afterwards?
It was a touchdown.
Canton really struggling.
The throw, the pass is deep, and the pass is not going.
Whoa! Oh! Oh my goodness!
Touchdown!
Is it?
Touchdown!
Fox, I forgot you can't see this.
Oh my God!
I love how you're looking at the screen pretending like you can see it, though.
What a grab after the deflection, and then is it a touchdown or not?
I mean, they gotta look if the ball crossed the plane before he went down. They're gonna look at the shoulder.
Well, we can never hear it on here because of Discord. Anybody? I want to know if anybody, because they talk about in that clip, they talk about how it went to review. So, Doug Day in the chat says nominate Dale McClain for Portland, 3 picks and a pick 6. Doug Day, that's the first intelligent thing I've heard all night over the last 2 hours. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I think that's a great. All right. So Holdorf, let's put Dale McClain for Portland, 3 picks and a pick 6 for the last Diva of the Week nominee. That's actually a great answer. All right, folks, there's your 5 Diva of the Week nominees. Shit, I should do that every week. Then I don't even have to do all the work. I just let the community do the work for me. Perfect. Just like in the military, supervising other people, right, Tyler? Tyler left. Tyler fell asleep again. All right, folks, we are going to rush.
Sorry, guys. I was looking for the touchdown in YouTube
to see if it was. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
He was looking for Mike O'Neill's chair.
If Twin Screw actually listened to the show once in a while, he probably could have told us. But all right, let's knock out these pick'ems real quick, and then we're gonna call it a night. I can see that our audience has dwindled to about half of what it was earlier, but that's okay. They can catch the second half of it on VOD on Twitch or maybe on YouTube. In the meantime, let's update the standings. We had a little bit of movement. Last week, Josh was on, or I'm sorry, Will. Oh, I forgot to put the 2. Will was on last week, which puts him in the multi-week category. He moves into 73%, which moves Nate down to 68 and moves Tyler, who was at 66 or 67, out of the top 4. Marcus, Lynn, and Justin still the top 3 over here, and 3 tied with 69%. And I forget who they were. I know Soto's one of them. Actually, I'll tell you right now. Hold on. My trusty dusty paper right here. It is Soto, Chad Rowland, and Jacob Clear. There you go. Those are the 3 69ers, just in case you were wondering.
What are the odds Soto's part of that group?
Shocker, right?
Nice.
All right. Week 12 games. Oh, look at the new fancy format, Axel Raven. All right, look at that. Week 12 games. Is there less of them than normal? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It just looks like that. Okay.
Since there's games flexing now, can't look at the original
gotcha.
schedule released at the beginning of the season. So
Well, why don't you just call Cam and ask him, and I'm sure he'll tell you and say, sure, for Dave's show, I'll do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure he would. All right. Predictions and pick'ems right here. Week 12. We're going to start with Frank. We'll work our way around the horn. Fox, I know you can't see him, so we'll make sure to repeat the names. London at Houston, straight out the gate. Frank, who you got?
Being at Houston, I'm gonna go with the Headhunters.
Yeah, is it not just because they're home though? Is it just because of the way they've been playing the last couple of weeks?
Where they've been playing, and I think Pickler's due. He only threw one interception against us, so I think he's due to turn the ball over a few times.
Ooh, there you go.
Makes sense.
Okay, Axel.
I have to agree with Frank. Houston on this one.
Okay. Yeah, especially as a Houston, because I think we've heard that London has only lost one home game in the last almost 3 complete seasons or something. You got to go all the way back to week 2 of season 19 when Lone Star visited and beat London. I don't think they've lost since week 2 of season 19 at home. That's very impressive. Tyler, who you got, London and Houston?
I believe. There we go. I didn't make sure I was unmuted. This will keep London's division very, very tight. This will keep the North Division very tight. Houston.
Now, Fox, I know you're going to take London, but tell me why. Wait. You're going to take London, right?
I am going to take London. Yeah,
okay.
Sure. I'm not going to. I'm not going to pull that again. Come on. No, I'm going to take London because we did start off slow this season. We were 1-3. We're now 6-3. I mean, we've our offense is very good. I don't know much about Houston's defense. I know they've come on very strong as well. I think they've won 4 straight.
I think 3. No, I think they've won 3 or 4.
They were 1-5. I think they were 1-5, and they've won 4 straight.
Really? Okay.
But I have confidence in my team that we're going to win. So that's why we're going to win.
Okay.
I said.
Okay. Hey, Eddie Gage, are you calling this the game of the week, Eddie? London and Houston. Let's go. We'll go down the left side, then we'll go down the right side. Portland at Louisiana, Frank.
I'll go with my old team, Louisiana.
Portland at Louisiana, Axel.
I think Louisiana.
Tyler.
I'm gonna go Revs.
See, I can't say to you, I know you're going to pick Louisiana, but tell me why, because most of the time you don't. So, but you are picking them this week.
I'm picking them this week. I like Portland, and Portland's always done they've done pretty well this season. I'm going to give them credit. But I think with a healthy Hammer, Louisiana will take the win.
All right. Fox, you get the last word on Portland at Louisiana, sorry.
At home, Louisiana is going to win.
Louisiana, okay. Game 3, Sioux Falls at Vancouver, Frank.
Everybody needs a healthy Hammer. Vancouver.
Hey, yo. Vancouver. Sioux Falls at Vancouver. Axel.
I think Vancouver's going to have it.
Tyler.
I think Vancouver loses their final game at home, Sioux Falls.
Yeah, I'm like a little surprised. We talked about how terrible Vancouver's been at home this season. Right out the gate, everybody's picking Vancouver. Interesting. Fox?
Yeah, I agree with Tyler. Sioux Falls.
Sioux Falls. Game number 4, Jacksonville at Minnesota. Frank.
Oh, geez. I got to go Minnesota.
Minnesota at home. I'm assuming you're going to pick Minnesota there, Axel. Tell me why.
I think that our defense last week over the weekend showed that we are pretty good against the pass, racking up 6 interceptions against Tulsa. I think we should be able to do a similar type thing against the pass-heavy
Jacksonville team. Tyler?
Wait for it.
Oh, fuck.
Minnesota!
Well, at least you didn't do the voice. That's what I thought you were going to do. I thought you were...
No. If it comes out, it'll come out naturally from now on.
Good. All right. Holdorf, can you mute Tyler for the rest of the night? Make him use his headset.
Oh, you're trying to go there now, bud.
Make him use his... do 1 for the away team and 2 for the home team, Tyler. Fox, we got Jacksonville at Minnesota.
Yeah, I think Minnesota gets 9 interceptions on Bruin.
Ooh, ouch. Okay. Frank, Baltimore at Carolina. Does Carolina have a chance against Baltimore?
They do have a chance, and I've picked every home team so far, but I'm going Baltimore.
Baltimore. Axel?
Baltimore.
Tyler?
Baltimore.
And Fox.
Vultures.
They're always the most boring pick of the night. Denver at Vegas, Frank.
I'm going to go with my old buddies in Vegas, Doug Britton and Scott Johnson.
Okay. What are you talking about, Holdorf? You're from fucking Iowa, bro. Axel.
I'm going with Denver.
Denver. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. This is Vice Wars. You know, I haven't even heard the word Vice Wars yet. I just realized it myself. Tyler.
Vegas seems to do way better in Vice Wars than Denver has over the last couple of seasons, so I have to go Vegas.
You have to go Vegas. Yeah, but they probably kicked you out, Holder. That's probably why you live in Iowa now. Fox, Denver at Vegas.
Vegas.
I like the Denver pick, to be honest with you, on that one. Alamo City at Canton. Frank. Oh, I know you're yeah, tell me why.
Our backs are against the wall, and we need to win the next two. And traveling to Canton is a good opportunity for us to get that started.
Agreed. Axel.
Yeah, they're going to start pretty strong. I think Alamo City is going to take it.
Okay. Tyler.
I've got the artillery.
Yep. And Fox, it is Alamo City at Canton.
Alamo City
with the sweep. Atlanta at Indy. Indianapolis at home against the 8-1 Atlanta crew. Frank, I don't know. Can the Swarm make it 9-1, or is Indianapolis gonna? Because Indianapolis is on a 4-game win streak too, so something's got to break here.
This one's tough because Indianapolis, they'll put up some points. I'm gonna go with Atlanta though.
Atlanta on the road in Indy. Axel.
Atlanta.
Tyler.
I beg to differ with Eddie's opinion. This is game of the week. Indy is on a 4-game winning streak playing Atlanta at home. I'm giving it to the boys in the snake pit, the Ramblers.
I think I agree with you. I'm looking at this real quick. Hold on. Yeah, I agree with you. I think I like this as game of the week better than London and Houston. 8-1 Atlanta. You know, the first team to wrap up the playoffs versus an Indianapolis team that's won 4 in a row. I agree with that. Eddie says Atlanta definitely going to be too much for Indy. Ooh. Did you tell your boy that? Tell Chad Rowland that. That's not, I think it may get ugly. Wow. So he's calling for Eddie Gage calling for a blowout. Atlanta over Indy. Racket. All right. Fox, Atlanta at Indy. Oh, I'm sorry.
This is game of the week.
Yeah.
This is game of the week. And as much as I love Atlanta, you know how much I love Atlanta. I got to go Indianapolis.
Really? I'm shocked that this is split 2-2, to be honest with you. And listen, and again, no disrespect to Indy, but I mean, Atlanta to me seems like season 14 Atlanta again. And,
they do.
And I just don't see them losing right now. I don't see it. Queen City.
They lost 2 games in season 14. So, you know, this is
in the regular season. Yeah. Queen City at Fort Worth. Another, you know, I asked you a moment ago if Canton had a chance, or I'm sorry, I asked you if Carolina had a chance against Baltimore, Frank. Does Queen City have a chance on the road at Fort Worth?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Not as hot as Fort Worth is. Nothing against Queen City. It's as hot as Fort Worth is.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's something against Queen City. They haven't won a game yet, right? I mean, that's got to stand for something. I mean, is it Frank, and Axel, I'll probably ask all of you the same thing. Is it more of they eventually have to win one, so every week there's a better chance they're finally going to win? Or is it just because they haven't won a game, they're probably going to lose again?
I don't think they have all the pieces there yet, so I don't think this is going to be a win.
Axel.
I feel like it's the same kind of thing. You flip a coin, every time you flip it, it's 50% one or the other, no matter how many times you flip it. I think it is going to be Fort Worth, but I think it's going to be a high-flying game.
Okay.
A lot of points.
Tyler, where do you stand with this Queen City-Fort Worth game?
So, mind if I tail in Gunny's question to this whole 2-10 thing that he wants to bring back up real quick?
I'm sorry. Hold on. What is Marco talking about? What was rude? Oh, was he talking about us? Oh, he's talking about what he's Desperados. Be confiscated. Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
all right,
that's last game.
Oh, I thought he was calling us out for something. All right, go ahead, Tyler.
No. The last, just real quickly, Queen City will lose to Fort Worth. That's a given. The best chance I see Queen City winning a game this season is against Motor City at home last week of the regular season.
Okay.
Which goes to say where I think actually Queen City will win that game versus Motor City. And my pick for 2-10 this stage is the V8s. V8s, they're on a bye this week. They play Fort Worth following Queen City playing Fort Worth in week 13. And then they, of course, match up against one another. So Motor City's got its tough.
You're saying Motor City 2-10, Queen City 1-11.
Correct.
Okay. Fox, we got Queen City at Fort Worth, and then we got 2 more games.
Fort Worth.
Fort Worth.
By I mean, I think it'll be close in the first half. It could be, but Fort Worth is just going to be too much.
And is Seattle-Tulsa the Monday night game? Do we know yet, or is it all still up in the air? Anybody know?
I'm trying to remember what Cam had said.
In the meantime, Frank, L.A. at Florida. Who you got?
L.A.
Axel.
Florida.
Florida. Tyler?
I was hard on them, but I'm giving Florida this one.
Yeah.
Actually, I've been hard on both these teams.
Yeah, I was gonna say you probably were tough on both of them, but I think Bullet took it a little more personal. Who did you say?
He said Florida.
I said Florida.
Oh, you said Florida. Okay. Ray is adding me for something in the chat. Fox, L.A. at Florida.
I think Florida's trying to get as far away from the 2-10 as he can and as they can, and give it to L.A. So, Florida.
Okay. All right. The last game, which I'm thinking might be the Monday night game. I actually hope it's Atlanta at Indy, but it's probably not because Indy's already been on Monday Night Football. Seattle traveling to Tulsa. Tulsa, one of the hottest teams in the SFL. Frank, I got to ask you for the third time tonight, does Seattle stand a chance?
I think Seattle will make it interesting early, but Tulsa's going to end up pulling away. Kind of similar to what it was like for Baltimore and Arizona.
Okay. Axel.
I think Seattle's going to take this one. I think they are a different ball club late in the season here than they were early in the season.
Okay. By the way, Ray's saying Atlanta-Indy is the Monday night game. That's awesome. Tyler?
I don't understand why you guys are still sleeping on Tulsa. They have won now 5 straight, and you're going to put them against Seattle, who, by and all and large, they have done really well. But they have lost their last 2 away games to Portland and Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls, who have a worse record than Tulsa. I'm taking the Desperados in this one.
Well, some people were high on Seattle earlier in the season, then they dipped or whatever. Maybe they see a resurgence. I don't know.
So I'm just going to be completely open, and I'll release this after the season. But my individual power rankings had Seattle at the bottom of the SFL standings coming into season 20.
Really? All right. Fox, you got the last word on all the pick'ems tonight, buddy. Seattle at Tulsa.
I think it could be a close game, but even if it is, it seems like Gabriel Manning will find something to pull out of his ass for Tulsa to win, so it's going to be Tulsa.
Real quick, just a quick yes or no, as fast as we can around the horn. Marco Swift has had 3 interceptions in the last 2 games, so he's had a hat trick and a hat trick. Against Seattle, does he get a hat trick?
No.
Frank, no. Axel, no. Tyler, yes. Fox,
just because I like Marco, yes.
Yeah, you know what? I think he can get it. I actually think he can get it, and I hope he does. Sorry, Seattle. I just think that would be really cool to have 9 interceptions in 3 games. That would be pretty awesome. All right, folks, there's your pick'ems, and pretty much there's your show. That's it. That's a wrap. We got to bring in the man of the hour, my man Fabulous 5'6" Freddie, to come sing us off the air. Freddie, how you doing tonight, buddy? Welcome back. How you doing, man?
Good evening, Dave. Great show as always. Great panelists, as our good friend Dandy Dunn would say. Turn out the lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end. All of the night, the party's over. Till next week, where we'll party down again. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. As I'm rocking my head back and forth, I'm literally jabbing that spear into my head. That is not. I will not be using the San Diego. Well, you know what? That's not true. If they win the Final Four, or if they win Saturday, oh shit, yeah,
they won't.
If they win, listen.
They won't.
When they win on Saturday, regardless of what they do on Monday, I will be probably wear this same thing next week. So there you go, folks. Jasmine, you know what I think about those 3 things, whatever they are. They're so small, I can't tell. Are those feet with toenails? Are they turkeys? What are those? Can anybody see what those are?
I wish I had a visual right
Are they
now.
clapping hands? Oh, they're clapping hands. Okay. Oh, come on, Fox. I was looking to you to see what the deal was. All right. That's it. That's a wrap, folks. Thanks for tuning in. As usual, we'll see you next week on Tuesday. We'll see you at the Tees. Tune in Tuesday at Twitch. And as my good friend, my really good friend who seems to never be around anymore, Mike St. Green, always says, see you next Tuesday.